So I just had the opportunity to work with a very, very high-level swimmer. In fact, one of the best in the country. He swims for the University of and one of the things that these athletes will do is spend some time, obviously, in the weight room. So strength conditioning has become a huge part of sport nowadays. And over the last few decades, it has become essential really for any Division I school that wants great athletes, because there's so much value to being strong. There's so much value to doing some types of conditioning that are outside of just the one particular sport that many of these athletes play. Just like I believe a lot of these same kind of training philosophies are really good for guys over 40, just to a different degree, right? So we all need strength conditioning is my point. But here's the interesting thing. Now, has a world-class strength conditioning center. I mean, it is nothing short of unbelievable. As a strength conditioning nerd that I am, I mean, I could only imagine having access to a facility like this. It is just mind-blowing. Now, granted, maybe we don't need all those things, but it is just really, really cool. It's like, you know, I'm like a kid in a candy store when I see something like that. But here's the interesting thing, is this athlete was really struggling with some back pain, and he thinks it had something to do with his squatting. So in the off season, which we're in right now, his coach or his strength conditioning coach would send him things and would never really talk about technique or form or those kinds of things. And I'm watching this athlete squat, and it was very, very clear to me that there were some movement faults that likely led to his pain, his discomfort. Now, if you're at that level of athlete, pain and discomfort, and I would argue even for a guy over 40, pain and discomfort is the worst thing. It's the worst place to be, right? Because it's going to inhibit your performance. It's going to inhibit your ability to dominate this one life, right? If you're a guy over 40, like, we never want to go to the pain cave. We never want to go to that place, right? So knowing this and looking at this and me giving him some different cues and some different strategies and some different ways to think about squatting and how to create more stability and how to find a better midline and how to be more efficient. Like, there's so many sort of nuances to this whole kind of thing, but it wasn't more than, I would say, maybe 5 minutes of good cueing and good practice with some light weights that got him dialed in. So it wasn't that he was inflexible. It wasn't that he wasn't strong enough. It wasn't that he wasn't coordinated enough. Like, all of those things, it wasn't the case. He just didn't know what he should be doing. And if you don't understand the skills, then things like back squatting or deadlifting or hang cleans, which are staples for these guys, they can become more problematic than helpful. But if you know what you're doing, if you move very, very well, then the benefit of these exercises is so high, and the safety is so high if you know what you're doing. Now, I've had the opportunity to work with many top-level weightlifters, and there's only one way that you can get athletes to train literally 6 days a week with relatively heavy weights over and over and over again for weeks, months, and even years. You know how you do it? You make sure that they know how to move biomechanically correct. Because if you know how to move yourself, if you know how to move biomechanically correct, the safety numbers go through the roof. If you don't, the safety numbers drop. And sometimes all it is just learning a more efficient way and then repeating and practicing. But having that skilled person watching over you and giving you the eyeballs and the feedback that you need, and who has been there, done that, we can a lot of times correct these things very, very quickly. Now, sometimes it becomes a little bit more complicated. It really depends on the person. Working with a high-level athlete, someone like this, obviously it becomes a little bit easier. But look, if you really want to build your strength, if you want to build your conditioning, if you want to build your aerobic capacity, if you want to build your fitness in a way that's going to lend itself very well to everyday life, a lot of people think they can just do this on their own. In fact, even at the highest levels, we've got strength coaches that are writing programs, but not really coaching people on how to do this stuff properly. So look, if you want to really level up, and if you want to be the best version of yourself, it's important to get some help. Get some help, get some eyeballs on you, and get some cues. You know, a lot of people think coaching is, there's no value in the world of fitness because you can do it on your own. Look, man, if you really want to do it and you want to do it right, you have to find someone who's willing and able and knowledgeable enough to help you so that you can get yourself to levels that maybe you never even thought was possible, and then to also be safe on the road.